The sand exploded upward in a white cloud when Nadia hit the arena floor, dropped through the ceiling grate without warning, and the crowd in the tiered stone seating above the pit arena went absolutely silent for 3 full seconds before erupting into the loudest sustained alien noise she had ever heard in her life. Nadia landed in a crouch, both palms flat on the pale sand, green eyes sweeping the circular arena in a single fast arc. 20-foot stone walls. 1 iron gate, north end, currently shut. 8 creatures. She counted fast, the way her father had taught her, the way she had learned before she could read. 8 squat, amphibious things arranged in a loose ring around her, each one the size of a large dog, each one covered in wet brown hide, and sporting 4 snapping jaw-lined mouths, arranged in a vertical stack on their flat faces. She stood up, brushed sand off her knees, and said, "Huh." In the warden's observation booth directly above, Warden Grox, the slate-gray, Velhari reptilian administrator with 4 thick arms and amber slit-pupil eyes that currently looked like they wanted to crawl out of his skull, leaned forward in his leather command chair and stared down at the arena floor. His bronze ceremonial chest harness clinked against the glass as he pressed his first and second sets of arms against the barrier. The blue holographic displays floating at chest height cast cold light across his overlapping scales. "Why?" he said. "Is she not screaming?" Overseer Den, the bronze chitinous Kelthari insectoid beside him, clicked her mandibles twice, the sound of someone clearing their throat, and consulted the display floating in front of her 6-limbed frame. Her compound violet eyes reflected the arena below in 400 tiny hexagons. "The acquisition file does say she is from a Deathworld," she said, her 4 upper arms sorting through holographic data while her 2 lower arms stayed folded. 3rd category biosphere, persistent, megafauna, seasonal atmospheric toxins. "Yes," Grox said, all 4 arms now gripping the glass, his amber eyes fixed on the girl who was currently circling the nearest amphibious creature, with what appeared to be professional assessment rather than fear. "I read the file. I did not believe the file." Down in the arena, the nearest creature lunged. All 4 of its vertical mouths snapped open simultaneously, revealing 4 rings of backward curved teeth, and it launched itself at Nadia's midsection with its full body weight behind it. She stepped left. The creature sailed past her right hip, hit the sand, skidded, and before it could reorient, she had dropped onto its back with both knees, grabbed 2 of its stubby forward limbs, and twisted. There was a sound like green wood cracking. The creature went flat and still. She was back on her feet in under 4 seconds. The crowd noise shifted. It went from roaring to something higher, confused, almost questioning. Commentator Yiv, the translucent blue-purple jellyfish-like broadcaster, hovering near the press platform at the arena's upper rim, his glowing orange organs pulsing rapidly inside his gelatinous body as his 4 drifting tentacles curled with visible agitation, turned to his recording device and said in a voice that wobbled, The first Screenac has been, I'm going to say, incapacitated by the juvenile Deathworlder, who appears to be measuring the angle of approach of the second one. 7 creatures left. The second one charged. She broke its trajectory by throwing sand directly into its face stack at the last second, grabbed it by what passed for its collar region while it was disoriented, and used its own forward momentum to swing it hard into the third one. Both hit the wall. Neither got back up immediately. 5 creatures left. The remaining 5 stopped moving. They spread out along the curved wall in a line and stayed there, making a low clicking sound that Nadia had never heard before. She had. Not from these creatures, but from cornered things in general. She put her back to the wall to her south, kept the iron gate in her peripheral vision, and waited. In the observation booth, Grox's 4 arms had gone completely rigid against the glass. His amber slit pupils had expanded to full black discs. Den's mandibles were no longer clicking. They were locked open. The blue holographic displays continued scrolling indifferent data between them. "It has been," Den said, and paused and consulted her display. 4 minutes. "I see that," Grox said. "She has eliminated 3 Screenic without visible injury to herself." "I see that also." "Warden." Den's compound violet eyes rotated toward him, all of them simultaneously, which on a Keltari face looks like a storm passing across water. "The Screenic are not charging." "I am aware." They are retreating from her." Grox straightened to his full 7-foot frame, all 4, arms folding behind his back, his gray scales pulling tight across his jaw. "Release the Thrackan," he said. The iron gate at the north end of the arena groaned. Then it shuddered. Then it tore itself open from the inside, as Log, the massive Thrackan battle beast, shouldered through the frame with enough force to scatter chunks of iron-capped stone across the pale sand. He was the size of a cargo transport, 6 armored charcoal legs churning the ground, 2 curving bone horns catching the amber overhead light, no eyes anywhere on his flat, armored face. Just the vibration-sensing pits along his jawline that turned toward Nadia the moment he cleared the gate. The crowd went absolutely feral. The sound was physical, a pressure against the arena walls. Nadia looked at the Thrackan. The Thrackan pointed both horns at her and shook the entire arena with a single bellow. She turned around, walked to the south wall, reached up, found a handhold between 2 stones that had been worn uneven over decades of arena use, and started climbing. In the observation booth, Grox grabbed Den's nearest arm with his upper right hand. Den did not react to this because she was also watching with all 400 compound eye facets fully focused on what the human girl was doing. "She's climbing," Yiv's voice crackled from the broadcaster platform above, his orange organs flashing in rapid succession, his tentacles wrapping around his recording device with white-knuckle tightness. "The Deathworlder juvenile is free-climbing the arena wall, without, I want to be clear to everyone watching, without equipment. She is 8 feet up, 10, 12. The Thrackan hit the south wall at full charge speed. The impact shook loose 3 rows of stone seating in the upper tier. Dust and rock fragments cascaded down. Nadia, 14 feet up, flattened herself against the wall 1 second before impact, held with fingers and toes while the wall shook beneath her, and, when the Thrackan's horns punched 2 fresh holes in the stone 2 feet below her position and stuck there, she looked down at the creature's broad, armored back directly beneath her, looked up at the top of the wall 6 feet above, looked down again. She dropped onto its back. She grabbed both bone horns. She hauled backward with everything she had, while the Thrackan screamed and thrashed, trying to free itself from the wall. And the angle she pulled from was exactly wrong for its neck muscles, which were built to push forward and had no corresponding strength to resist direct rearward torque on its own head orientation. And after 11 seconds of screaming and thrashing, the Thrackan's front legs buckled, its 6-legged frame went sideways, and it hit the arena floor with an impact that Grox felt through the soles of his feet in the booth above. It was not dead. It was confused and had its horns stuck in a wall. Nadia was standing on its side with both arms raised, breathing hard, and looking up at the crowd with an expression that could most charitably be described as irritated. The crowd went silent for the second time. Yiv said, in a very small voice, "She's fine." Grox sat down very slowly in his leather command chair. His bronze chest harness settled against his torso with a small metallic sound. He looked at Den. Den looked at her holographic display. Her mandibles were doing the rapid, anxious clicking of a Kelthari, who has a great deal to say and is choosing to say none of it. "Hour count," Grox said. 53 minutes, Den said. "And the arena roster?" Den pulled up the display with 2 of her 4 upper arms, her compound violet eyes scanning the data. "She has incapacitated 3 Skreenic. 2 more have self-evacuated to the far wall and show no intention of re-engaging. The Thraken is immobilized, and the remaining Skreenic—" She paused. "The remaining Skreenic appear to have formed a group in the northeast corner and are— I want to confirm this. They appear to be facing away from her." Grox pressed his first set of arms over his face. His scales shifted color slightly, going a shade paler. "They're hiding from her." "They're hiding from her," Den confirmed. Down on the arena floor, one of the hiding Skreenic made the mistake of shifting position. Nadia's head snapped toward the movement with the kind of speed that should not be possible in a creature her size. The Skreenic pressed itself back against the wall so hard it left a wet smear on the stone. She turned away, walked to the center of the arena, sat down cross-legged on the sand with her back straight and her arms resting on her knees, and appeared to be doing nothing at all. "What is she doing?" Grox demanded. Den tilted her kittenous head. "I believe," she said, "she is resting. In the arena. While surrounded by active combatants. While surrounded by combatants who are no longer, technically, active." Guard Captain Reth, the V2 rust-scaled Velhari reptilian in the staging room beneath the arena, received the order to enter the arena at the 58-minute mark. He was a solid creature. Rust-colored overlapping scales, 2 standard arms holding an electro-lance at port position, a full head shorter than Grox, but built like a door. And he had worked arena security for 11 years without ever hesitating at a gate. He looked through the iron door's viewing slot at Nadia sitting cross-legged in the sand, while the remaining arena creatures clustered as far away from her as the circular walls permitted. He closed the viewing slot. He walked back to the staging room's weapon rack, set his electro-lance against it very carefully, and sat down on the bench. The 2 guards flanking him looked at him. He looked at the iron door. Nobody moved. Up in the observation booth, Den received the notification that the arena security team had not entered. She turned to Grox. Grox was already looking at her. "How many guards in the staging room?" he said. 14, she said. "And none of them. Grox stood up again to his full 7-foot frame, all 4 of his thick arms spreading wide with the involuntary splaying that meant extreme agitation in a Velhari, his amber slit pupils cycling through several sizes rapidly. "They are professional arena guards. The creature in there is a child." Den's compound violet eyes reflected the display data in 400 tiny copies. "Warden," she said carefully. "She has been in the arena for 61 minutes. She has incapacitated or neutralized everything we have released. The Thraken is still stuck in the wall, and she is currently—" Den checked the display. "Currently appearing to do stretches. In the arena, Nadia was indeed stretching. She had her right leg extended and was leaning over it with the focused expression of someone going through a routine they had done 10,000 times before." The 5 remaining Skreenic watched, her from their corner with all 20 of their stacked mouth rings sealed shut. The Thraken had stopped trying to free its horns, and seemed to have decided that staying very still was an acceptable life strategy. Yiv's broadcasting tentacles had gone limp. His glowing orange organs pulsed in the slow, erratic pattern of profound personal crisis. "We, he said into his recording device, "we are going to take a brief— Actually, I don't know what we're doing. She's stretching. The Lorum's arena, which has stood for 214 years and has never— I'm going to say, has never had an audience go this quiet during active session. Grox made a decision. He pressed the communication panel on his command chair with one of his lower hands, while his upper hands remained knotted behind his back. "This is Warden Grox. I need a containment specialist on the arena floor. Tranquilizer protocol. Target is the Deathworld juvenile." A pause. Then the response channel opened and a voice said, "Warden, this is containment specialist Holv. I'm reviewing the footage from the past hour." Another pause. "I'm going to need you to clarify what exactly you want me to walk into." Den made a sound from behind her mandibles that, if she had been a different species, might have been a laugh. She converted it smoothly into a data query cough. "She is a 16-year-old human," Grox said, each word very measured. "She weighs approximately 52 kilograms. You have full containment gear." Another pause from Holv, a longer one. "I've looked at the Thrakan footage, sir. The Thrakan is stuck in a wall." "Yes, sir. She put it there." Grox's 4 arms spread wide again. "Enter the arena, Holv." The channel went quiet. The channel stayed quiet. Grox looked at the communication panel. The panel did not indicate that Holv had disconnected. She was still on the line. She simply was not responding. "Holv," Grox said. "I'm thinking," Holv said. In the staging room, Guard Captain Reth had been joined by the full 14-guard contingent, all of them standing in a loose cluster near the weapon racks, all of them periodically glancing at the iron door and its viewing slot, with the collective body language of creatures who had reached an unspoken democratic consensus that whatever was on the other side of that door was someone else's problem. One of the younger guards, whose name was Pell and who had been working arena security for 6 weeks, raised his hand slightly. "She's just sitting there, though," he said. Everyone looked at him. Pell lowered his hand. "I'm just saying." "The Thrakan," said the guard standing next to him, "is stuck in a wall." "Right, but she's not. She's just stretching now." Reth turned his rust-scaled head toward Pell, with the slow deliberateness of a creature choosing its words carefully. "Pell," he said, "in the past hour, that juvenile human has neutralized 14 combatants, caused a Thrakan to become architecturally incorporated into the arena structure, and the remaining living combatants, creatures that have collectively killed 208 arena challengers in their career, are hiding from her." He paused. "You want to open the door?" Pell looked at the door, looked at Reth. "I mean, she's just a kid. She's a Deathworld kid. What does that—" "Her planet," Reth said, "produces organisms that our medical classification system rates as biologically impossible. Things that should not be able to sustain life do so, aggressively. And then her planet produces things that eat those things." He turned back to face the door. "She grew up there." Pell was quiet for a moment. "Oh," he said. "Yes," said Reth. The iron door's viewing slot slid open on its own. Every guard in the room lunged backward simultaneously, several of them colliding with weapon racks, one knocking over a full electro-lance stand with a tremendous clatter of metal. Nadia's green eyes appeared in the viewing slot. She looked around at the chaotic pile of armored guards sorting themselves out from various states of collision with the equipment room walls, took in the overturned weapon stand, the guard who had actually sat down on the floor apparently by accident, and Reth standing with his back rigidly against the far wall with both hands raised. "Hey," she said. Her voice through the small slot was conversational. "Are there more things coming? Or is this it? Because I've been sitting out there for a while and I'm pretty hungry." Complete silence. Reth lowered his hands by approximately 1 inch. His rust-colored scales had gone the off-white shade of extreme internal conflict. "You," he said, "climbed the wall. I was going to climb over, but the big one got stuck, so I came back down." She looked around the staging room again through the slot, with the calm professional assessment that had been doing terrible things to everyone's nervous systems for the past hour. Is there a water source in there? Or food? I saw what looked like a supply room off the corridor when they moved me through. Reth stared at her. She stared back. I'm just hungry, she said. In the observation booth, Grox was watching the door camera feed on his holographic display with all 4 arms folded into the rigid configuration of a Velhari experiencing existential administrative crisis. Den stood beside him with her compound violet eyes moving between the arena feed, where the Skrinik remained in their corner and the Thraken remained in the wall, and the staging room feed. She wants food, Den said. I heard. Warden, the intake paperwork classified her as a... Den consulted her display with all 4 upper arms simultaneously. A standard low-risk, non-combatant juvenile acquisition. Category 3 biosphere notation. The Category 3 notation was... Flagged as likely data entry error, Grox said. Yes, I know. I signed that assessment. Den's mandibles clicked. 3 times in rapid succession, which, on a Kelthari face, was the equivalent of someone opening and closing their mouth several times before deciding what to say. The Category 3 notation was not a data entry error, she said. Clearly not. Yiv drifted past the observation booth window on his broadcasting platform, his translucent blue-purple body now listing slightly to one side, his orange organs pulsing in the slow pattern of a creature reconsidering its career choices. He pressed one tentacle against the glass and looked at Grox. Grox looked back at him. Yiv held up a data tablet showing his live audience count. It was the highest number Lorem's arena had recorded in 214 years of operation. Grox stared at the number. Yiv pointed at the number. Grox looked at Den. Den looked at the arena where the Skrinik were hiding, and the Thraken was stuck in a wall. Then she looked at the staging room feed, where Reth was apparently having a genuine conversation, through a door slot with a 16-year-old human about the location of the supply room. Den said, Warden, I think we need to talk about acquisition budget. In the staging room, the iron door opened. Guard Captain Reth stepped back. 14 guards stepped back with him, collectively and without coordination, like a tide going out. Nadia stepped through the iron door into the orange-lit staging room, her torn gray jumpsuit dusty from the arena sand, her dark, curly hair wild, and she looked around at the ring of armored guards surrounding her, all of them radiating the specific energy of creatures who wanted very badly to be somewhere else. And she said, Thanks. Which way is the supply room? Several guards pointed, in different directions, all of them wrong. Pell, 6 weeks on the job, pointed in the actual correct direction. Nadia looked at him. Thanks, she said, and walked past the entire 14-guard contingent through the staging room toward the corridor, and not one of them moved a single scale or chitin plate to stop her. When she was gone, Reth exhaled a breath that he had apparently been holding since the viewing slot opened. He sat down on the bench. Around him, the staging room was very quiet, except for the distant ambient noise of the crowd above still making the confused buzzing sound of 90,000 beings trying to figure out what they had just witnessed. Pell cleared his throat. So, he said, do we go get her? Reth thought about the Thraken, thought about the 53-minute mark, thought about the way she had grabbed both horns and pulled. No, he said. Right, said Pell. Yeah, no, absolutely. Up in the observation booth, Grox was staring at the corridor feed, where Nadia was calmly navigating toward the supply room as if she had been given a map, which she had not. His amber slit pupils had gone fully round, which on a Velhari face meant that something had broken the normal processing hierarchy and the brain was attempting a full system restart. Den placed one of her 4 upper arms on the holographic display and pulled up a new document template. "I'm going to start the contract paperwork," she said. Grox turned to look at her. "She is currently an arena captive." "She was currently an arena captive," Den said, her mandibles clicking in the rapid staccato of a Keltari who has already made a decision and is merely narrating it aloud. "In approximately 40 minutes, when she finishes whatever she's doing in the supply room and finds her way back here, she is going to be standing in this booth asking questions, and I would like to have paperwork ready." "You think she'll find her way here?" Den gestured at the corridor feed. On it, Nadia had reached a junction with no signage and turned left without hesitating, which was the correct direction. Grox watched her go. His 4 arms settled at his sides. His bronze chest harness caught the blue-purple light of the display panels. He was quiet, for a long time. "She was never scared," he said finally. "Not a question. Not a complaint. Something closer to genuine bewilderment." "No," Den said. "The Thraken is still in my wall." "Yes. The Skrinik are hiding. They remain in the northeast corner. 2 of them have faced the wall completely." Yiv drifted past the window again with his data tablet. The audience number had gone up. He tapped it twice with a tentacle and gave Grox what appeared to be a significant look through his gelatinous blue-purple face, despite not having any features that technically constituted a look. Grox looked at the number, looked at the corridor feed, looked at the arena feed, where the Thraken was still patiently incorporated into the south wall, and the remaining Skrinik were maintaining their corner strategy with the commitment of creatures who had found something that worked. "Fine," he said. He sat down in his leather command chair. He pulled the contract template toward him with his lower set of arms. "Standard acquisition conversion paperwork. Employment grade. Arena staff category." He paused. "Combatant division." Den's mandibles clicked once, decisively. "I'll note that the candidate demonstrated exceptional capability under field evaluation conditions. Write that the candidate destroyed our Thraken exhibition by embedding it in load-bearing stonework, and we'll be adjusting the maintenance budget accordingly." "I'll phrase that more diplomatically." "I know you will." 42 minutes later, Nadia appeared in the observation booth doorway with a nutrient bar she had found in the supply room, and an expression of someone who had not been particularly worried about finding it. She looked at Grox. She looked at Den. She looked at the holographic display with the contract template, and the line at the bottom waiting for a signature. She took a bite of the nutrient bar. "Is that for me?" Grox looked at her for a long moment with his amber slit pupils at medium open, which on a Velhari face meant something in the range of resigned professional respect. "Yes," he said. She walked over, looked at the contract, took another bite, and said, "What's the pay structure?" Den's mandibles clicked. Grox's 4 arms folded. Yiv, drifting past the window with his data tablet showing numbers that were still climbing, pressed all 4 tentacles against the glass in what might have been applause. In the arena below, the Thraken remained in the wall. The Skrinik remained in the corner. Guard Captain Reth remained on his bench in the staging room, and Pell sat next to him, and neither of them said anything, and the crowd above them kept making that noise, not the roar of people watching a spectacle, but the specific sustained sound of 90,000 beings who had come to watch something die, and had instead watched something absolutely ordinary refuse to be afraid of anything, and couldn't quite figure out what to do with that. Nadia signed the contract on page 3 without reading pages 1 or 2, finished her nutrient bar, and said, "When do I start?" Grox looked at the south wall of the arena, where the Thraken was going to require a structural team, and probably 3 full rotations to extract. "Yesterday," he said.